I hereby summon all my imps. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. Welcome to a very special, spooktacular Halloween Marvel Snap OTA patch. For some reason, and I don't know why, I must have missed a memo somewhere along the way. I didn't know there was going to be an OTA patch today. I literally thought it was going to be next Tuesday. I have no idea what's going to happen next Tuesday and how this is going to rotate around in the future. I figured they were just going to take off this week and start back again next Tuesday. But there's some nerfs and some buffs to go over. A few quality of life changes, so what had happened in this particular one? So let's talk about the buffs first. I'll go over them quickly here. First buff we have up is for Negasonic Teenage Warrior. This one's kind of interesting because it changes Negasonic Teenage Warrior to kind of being like almost a trap card, where you would set it down and then wait for your opponent to play there. I really don't think this helps Negasonic Teenage Warrior, because there's so many times where even if you're using it for both sides, your opponent would just throw like a wasp in there and just call it a day. Now you do get the 2 points out of playing the Negasonic Teenage Warrior, and maybe you can set this up for turn 6 as kind of like a mini off. But I do find it interesting, funny, haha, funny, ironic, however you want to view it, that Negasonic Teenage Warrior has been untouched, uncared for, unwanted, and all of a sudden she gets a buff on her right before she goes into the Spotlight Cache, because she's going into the Spotlight Cache soon. It's amazing how many times Marvel Snap is updating cards that are about to go into the Spotlight Cache that are bad. I don't think this makes her the most broken card in the world, but if you've got her, it's not a bad card to own. If you don't got her, I'm not sure you're going out of your way to get her. If so, you're almost better off getting the off and not carrying. So next one that we have up for us is Ravonna Renslayer. Ravonna Renslayer got a buff on her. This is pretty much almost an OTA buff that happened, where she went from being a 3-3 to a 2-1. Everything else stayed exactly the same. So this is pretty much just a patch OTA buff that could have happened any week pretty much. Another one that happened that was basically falling into the OTA patch is Sandman. Sandman got changed from a 5-3 to a 5-4. Everything else stayed the same. So this is another one that could have basically been in an OTA patch. And the last one that had a patch happen to it was Ant-Man. Ant-Man basically had another quote-unquote OTA patch. Didn't really change anything, but is now falling into the realm of Dazzler and all the other cards that now, instead of saying it has to have 3 cards here, just says this location's full. So it'll help out with the Space Throne if you play it on the Space Throne. I have a feeling at some point they might make another location like Space Throne, where it only can take 2 characters or it can only take 3 characters, I could see that coming up somewhere in the future. Because they've been making these constant changes to how these cards are written, and it seems weird for that to exist only for one particular location. So look out in the future for another location that maybe we can only take 3 slots, or maybe can only take 2 slots, or maybe somehow can take 5 cards. And now for the nerfs, the biggest nerf, the one that everybody's been talking about. Is Mobius M Mobius, or Triple M. Triple M went from ongoing to on reveal. So now instead of him being a constant threat, he's now only a threat for 1 turn. So now you have to kind of guess where if your opponent's gonna play on that next turn, or kind of stop your opponent from playing on that next turn. I'm gonna talk more about Mobius later on in this week, but for right now, I think that this isn't going to be the last change to Mobius. I see something else coming for him. Next one that we have is kind of a nerf, kind of a buff, depending on how you view it. Wave now has been changed that she won't affect cards that cost 1, 2, or 3, or 0. So, you can't make a card go up, you can only make a card come down. You can view this as a buff, you can view this as a nerf. Because there were some people who were playing this to stop Kitty Pride decks, where you would flood the board. But other than that, not much changed about her. She got moved up from a 3-3 to a 3-5. So it's kind of interesting that she's bringing in some power all of a sudden. And for 3-5, that's a pretty nice 3 if you look at where she is, just as a power stick. We got a power here for a second. Let me flip. I need power, there we go. That puts her up there in the top. That puts her in the same range as Spider-Man, Polaris, Lady Sif, Deathlock, so just as a power stick you might start seeing play again. And then basically this is not a nerf or a buff. I didn't know where to put it, so I'm just going to call it a text change. Technically it's a nerf, but it really didn't do much. Eliav now, instead of destroying all enemy cards, he destroys all enemy cards on their opponent's side of the field. So if you're playing something like a Hobgoblin or a Green Goblin, or you send over a -1 with Viper, it's not going to count. So it's not going to destroy those cards. So you can help flood out this board. That makes this card just 5%, 6% weaker in the long run. I don't know how many people were trying to make that a thing with this card. But now there's just a couple more cards that really bite this card. Now you still have to have prio. So if the cards don't reveal, then they obviously get destroyed anyways. But if the cards get revealed, then you can get they won't get destroyed. So the big ball of death that can destroy anything can't destroy Hobgoblin and Green Goblin now. Alright, so those are the buffs and the nerfs. We've had a couple quality of life changes. First one is here in the actual deck creation. when you click on deck creation, you now get 2 different bars. You get this bar and you get this bar. And this works on every single deck. When on this bar, you can actually see all the different card backs you have, all the different avatars that you can pick from, all the different titles you can go through. And if you want to do this one for all of your stuff, you can actually equip to all. And that'll equip to all of them. Just be careful, as I think this does it retroactively too. So if you like a certain card back for everybody, a certain avatar for everybody, and a certain title for everybody, you can do that now very quickly. Delete is here. It'll ask you to confirm. That was one quality of life change, and the other one that happened on this particular patch is in the shop. Down in the gold section, all the gold. Now the first time you buy gold, you'll get double the gold, and if I read this correctly, each individual one will count. And so if you buy the 100, you still can buy the $5 one. It's not whichever one you buy first, but after you buy the 100, the 100's gone. After you buy the $5 one, the $5 one's gone. This is for new players, old players, anybody, doesn't matter, they reset it for everybody. I don't buy gold, so this doesn't affect me, but just in case you do. And another change that happened, kind of a quality of life change here. If you go to collections now, you'll see that you got a brand new box. And if you look, you don't have spotlight caches anymore. Instead, you have these wonderful, wonderful things that are called keys. They kind of look like this. You can now get your key, no matter when, hold on to it, and blow it on any cache. So you can actually stack up your keys, open the box, open them, hold on to them right off the bat, not open your boxes, but not worry that you accidentally hit a box. And now theoretically you should have to press and hold on the box to get it. And all the different things that you can get are shown here. So if you want to see what the regular card is, it's here. If you want to see what the alt art is, it's here. That was the ghost spider. And according to the changes that have happened, if you get the mystery variant, you also get an avatar for it. So those are all the quality of life changes. Not a lot in the season pass, all things considered. And again, no drops on the when cards are going to drop to Series 3 or Series 4. So no news on that for December or November, so don't be surprised if you don't see it till January. Alright, I want to thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember, play for fun.